The next judge position that voters will interact with is the poll book judge. All voters must complete their check-in on the poll books, both registered voters and those needing to register on Election Day. Voters can check in on the first available poll book. Each device contains the full roster of registered voters for your precinct. All poll books are also capable of processing Election Day registrations. It is important to note that the voter registration information in the poll books is never connected to the ballot counting machines or results reporting process. The two systems function independently of each other and never share information. The following videos will outline how to operate the poll books on Election Day.
PollPad, Minnesota's anyline, anytime solution. Gone are the days of thumbing through paper rosters. Now with a simple touchscreen search, a voter's record can be found quickly and accurately. No more A through K lines. All voters in your jurisdiction will now be able to choose any line, anytime. Presenting PollPad. To open carrying case, use thumbs to press down on the gray latches and pull up. Pull claps down to open. Make sure your luggage tag, printer, and iPad labels match before assembly. Your PollPad will come in a green case and contain the following: PollPad base and stand arm, ID clip, charger plug and cords, two stylus, printer plug and cords, printer, iPad, complete printer setup before powering on PollPad. Connect power cords and ensure secure connection. Plug the connector into the back of the printer, once again ensuring secure connection. Plug your printer into provided power source. The on-off switch is located on the left side of the printer. Turn on. If you do not see a green power light on the front panel, check the power cord connections and make sure the outlet has power.
To update the status of absentee voters on Election Day, Anoka County transmits data through a wireless hotspot. You will want to get your hotspot set up shortly after you arrive at the polling place. To set up your hotspot, first, attach the two antennas to the device. Then, plug the hotspot into a primary AC power supply. The device should power on automatically. Otherwise, press the power button on the front right of the device. After powering on, the power light on the front of the device will illuminate. The light on the top of the device will indicate connection to the cell tower. The light can appear different colors: green, yellow, magenta, or red. If you have a magenta or red signal light, try to relocate the hotspot to another location in the room. Locations closer to windows or exits typically provide a better signal. As long as the top button is not red, your poll pads can get a connection to the hotspot. At least a yellow connection is preferred and green is ideal. If you are struggling to establish a connection, you may need to turn off the hotspot for 1 to 2 minutes and then turn it back on. As a reminder, your poll pads do not require connection to the hotspot to check in and register voters. The hotspot is used for sending absentee ballot updates to your devices. You should continue to use your poll pads even if your hotspot is not working. Contact your clerk if you cannot establish a connection to the hotspot. They will work with you to troubleshoot the issue or look into alternate measures to provide you with absentee updates.
Once printer assembly is completed, place iPad face down on a flat surface to attach stand arm to iPad shell. Press buttons on the side of the arm and place in circular opening. Release buttons and turn the arm until you hear a click. Connect stand arm to the base and attach the ID tray and insert stylus. Adjust the iPad to a suitable angle.
Use your finger to press the power button located on the top of the iPad until you see the Apple icon. Once powered on, your iPad will launch the PollPad application. Confirm the name of jurisdiction, name of election, and election date are correct. Most importantly, check that the polling place location is correct. Verify that the check-in count is 0. Press the green cloud icon and select Synchronize Now to ensure that the poll pad is connected to the hotspot. Check that the battery life is sufficient, recommended over 90%. Press the green printer icon and select Print Test Receipt, and a sample receipt will print. If all is correct, press Get Started and you are ready to process voters. To search for a voter, the election judge enters the first 3 letters of the voter's last name and the first 3 letters of the voter's first name in the corresponding boxes and presses Search. Election judge to confirm the voter's information is correct. Tap on the voter to proceed. If the voter has changes to their registration, such as a name or address change, tap the registration button and follow the instructions. Election judge to turn the poll pad toward the voter for voter to confirm the information is correct. Once confirmed, the screen should be turned back towards the election judge. Press Accept to continue. Complete a final review and then process the voter by pressing Submit. A voter's signature certificate and voter receipt will print. Election judge to ask the voter to review and sign the voter signature certificate. Place the signed voter signature certificate in the storage container for registered voters. Issue the receipt to the voter and direct them to bring the voter receipt to the ballot judge to exchange for a ballot. The following steps will help if you are having trouble locating a voter that is confident that they should be registered. First, slow down and make sure you are searching correctly before you move on to do a new registration. If the voter provides their name as Tom Jefferson, typing in T-O-M in the first name field will not find the voter if he is registered as Thomas. Simplify your search by using less letters. Try typing J-E-F in the last name field and only the letter T in the first name field. Now you will catch multiple spelling possibilities for the first name, like Tom, Tommy, and Thomas. Additional search options are available if you cannot find a voter by their name. Be sure to clear the first and last name fields and then press Advanced Search to search by date of birth, address, or voter ID number. If a voter is found, election judge must verify that the voter's information is correct. Follow polling place protocols to direct the voter to the ballot judge. However, it could be that the voter is in fact not registered. There are many reasons why a voter might not be registered. If they do not have any activity for a period of more than 4 years, their record will be inactivated. If they've moved out of the area and did not update their registration upon return, the voter will not be registered. And if a voter registered less than 20 days prior to the election, their name will not appear on the roster on Election Day. If in doubt about a voter's registration status, you can always call Anoka County Elections to confirm.
Find a precinct. If voter is still not found using regular or advanced search methods, you can use the Precinct Finder button located in the menu bar. Enter the voter's residential address, where the voter lives, and press Search. This will direct voter to correct polling location. If chosen, driving directions can be printed.
If a voter was not found using alternative searches, they must complete an Election Day registration. A Register button will appear on the search screen that you can use to start the registration process, or you can press Menu in the upper left corner and select Register Voter and then follow the prompts. Confirm citizenship and age. Ask the voter, are you a U.S. citizen? If yes, press Yes and proceed. Ask the voter, are you 18 years or older? If yes, press Yes and proceed. If the voter presents a Minnesota driver's license or ID, you may scan the barcode using the ID tray. This will auto-populate the voter's name and date of birth along with the driver's license number on subsequent screens. Note that this will not populate the voter's address from the ID. Confirm that the name and date of birth are correct. We will also want to be sure that we are capturing contact information from the voter if they are willing to provide it. Please ask the voter for their phone number and/or email address. Anoka County will only use this information if there is an issue with their voter record or absentee ballot. Confirm that the information is all correct and then press Next. On the voter address screen, enter the voter's house number. Then, enter the first 3 characters of the street name and a drop-down menu will appear. Choose the correct address from the list and this will auto-populate the remaining portions of the address. If the voter's address does not appear in the drop-down menu, ensure that they are in the correct polling location using the Precinct Finder. In previous elections, we found that several voters who lived in apartment buildings were registered without their unit number. Always ask the voter to confirm whether their residence has a unit number. If so, be sure to record that on the registration. Once address entry is complete, press Next. If a unit number is not entered, a pop-up will appear as a reminder to confirm whether or not there is a unit number. If they do not have a unit, press Understood on the pop-up to continue. After address entry is complete, you will need to indicate the identification type provided by the voter from the drop-down bar. Note that this is not the proof of residency verification. That will come on the next screen. The voter can provide their Minnesota driver's license or state ID or the last 4 of their social security number. If they do not have either, you should select Voter does not have a Minnesota driver's license, ID card, or SSN. After you make the correct selection, enter the required information. If you've already scanned the voter's driver's license, the number will auto-fill in the box. Then press Next. Select the residency type that the voter is providing to complete their Election Day registration from the drop-down menu. Either an ID with the current name and address, a photo ID and document with current name and address, or Other, which includes voucher, notice of late registration, and valid registration in the same precinct. On the next drop-down menu, select the type of ID that is used. Note, if you scan an ID, the ID number will auto-populate. Once you have made the correct selection, press Next. When a voter needs to register to vote on Election Day, there are several forms of accepted identification that they can present to register. The following clip outlines the proof of residence options available to voters. A list of all accepted IDs will be included with the precinct supplies for the poll book judge. As a reminder, if the proof provided by the voter is not one of the acceptable items listed, it cannot be accepted. If a voter is turned away because they cannot provide sufficient proof, please make a notation in the incident log.
When you confirm the voter's proof of residency, reference your guide. There are 7 ways to prove residency. We're going to summarize these, but don't worry about memorizing them. Just know that a voter has many ways to register and that you should go through each option. Option 1, an approved ID with the voter's current name and address in the precinct. Option 2, a combination of an approved old or expired photo ID plus an approved document that has the voter's current address. The voter can present the document on a smartphone or tablet. Option 3, a voter can go to the polls with a registered voter from the same precinct. That person can confirm where the unregistered voter lives by signing an oath. This is called vouching. A registered voter can vouch for up to 8 unregistered voters as long as they personally know each lives in the precinct. Option 4. This is only for college students. Your precinct may be provided with a list of students at a Minnesota college or university. If so, a student named on that list can register by showing a current valid student ID card from their school. The ID must have their photo. Option 5. If a voter's name appears on the roster under a previous name or address in the precinct, it serves as their proof of residence. Option 6. A voter can show a notice of late registration if they received one from their local election official. Option 7 is for voters who live in a residential facility. These voters can have a facility staff person confirm their address with a signed oath. Residential facility staff may vouch for any number of voters living in the facility. You will find that most voters bring a current ID or an old photo ID with a current bill. If they do not have either of these, carefully go through all of the options with them. A voter can leave and come back in order to get what they need to register.
If the voter was previously registered under a different name or address, you can enter it in the corresponding boxes. This is not a required step. Press Next to continue. Election judge to turn the poll pad toward the voter for the voter to confirm that the information is correct. If information is correct, turn the poll pad back toward the election judge, and election judge to press Next. Election judge to confirm that all information is correct, and initial in the box, and then press Submit. The voter registration application will print. It is very important to ensure that the voter signs the voter registration application. Then complete the remainder of the check-in process. The voter signature certificate and voter receipt will print. Have the voter sign their voter signature certificate and issue their voter receipt. After processing a new registration or updating a current registration, the election judge must place both the voter registration application and the voter signature certificate into the storage container for non-registered voters. Keep these 2 slips together for each voter. You do not need to paperclip or staple them, just keep them stacked together. Election judges must ensure that only valid addresses are entered for Election Day registrants in your precinct. It is very important that you follow these instructions so that you do not mistakenly register someone that does not reside in your precinct. Be sure to slow down at the address entry screen. Only enter the house number and the first 3 characters of the street name. After the first 3 characters are entered, you should see a drop-down to select the correct address. Once everything is entered for the address, press Next. If you enter an address that is incorrect or corresponds to a different precinct, you will see a screen titled Jurisdiction Details. This means that something is wrong with the address or data entry. Press Previous Step and confirm that the information is correct. If correct, then press Next. If you still get the jurisdiction detail screen, close out of the registration by pressing the X in the upper right-hand corner. Then, go to the menu screen to access the Precinct Finder to verify whether the voter is in the correct location. You can also verify with your paper Precinct Finder to confirm whether a street belongs in your precinct and how it is spelled. If you are still unable to locate the voter's address, consult with your city clerk or the county and confirm their correct polling location. If the voter is using a voucher, on the residency verification screen, select Other in the residency type dropdown. In the Type of ID box, select Vouched For, then press Next. Select the correct voucher type in the I swear or affirm that drop-down menu, and then type in the voter ID number for the voucher. The voter ID number for the voucher can be found on the paper greeters list or by searching with another poll book. After entering the voter ID number, the name and address will auto-populate. Then, enter the voucher's phone number and press Sign. Voucher and election judge must both sign, then press Next. If there are no registration updates, you can skip and continue to the next step by pressing Next. Election judge to turn the poll pad toward the voter for the voter to confirm that the information is correct. If correct, turn the poll pad back toward the election judge. Election judge to press Next. Election judge to confirm that all information is correct and initial in the box, then press Submit. The voter registration application will print. It is very important to ensure that the voter signs the voter registration application. Complete the remainder of the check-in process, have the voter sign their voter signature certificate, and issue their voter receipt. Some voters may have trouble accessing the polling place. To accommodate these voters, polling places offer curbside voting. Information that outlines the process for curbside voting using the poll books can be found with the head judge materials. We will provide a brief overview of the curbside voting process. If the voter is registered, they can be checked in on the poll pad inside of the polling place once their name and address are confirmed. Two judges of different major parties should then take the registered voter receipt and bring it to the ballot judge to exchange for a ballot. Judges then bring the following items out to the car: voter signature certificate, ballot secrecy cover, ballot, I voted sticker, ballot marking pen, and clipboard. Have the voter sign the registered voter signature certificate and mark their ballot. After voting is completed, instruct the voter to place the ballot into the ballot secrecy cover. Ask the voter to remain at the polling place until the ballot is counted. Judges return to the polling place, hand the voter signature certificate to the poll book judge, and insert the voted ballot into the ballot counter. If the ballot counter returns a ballot, follow the procedure for ballot counter error messages. Inform the voter when their ballot has been accepted and read by the ballot counter. If the voter is not registered, you will need to first bring a poll book out to the vehicle and walk through the registration process. Then bring the poll book back inside to print the voter registration application and voter signature certificate and follow the remaining steps.
Absentee. Search for voter record. Once voter is found, if they voted absentee, their name will be highlighted and AB will appear in their record. Press the voter record. A banner will appear reading absentee voter. Election judge to read screen in its entirety for polling place protocol. Press go back and clear name fields to process next voter in line. A voter cannot be processed if marked absentee. If voter record is marked absentee, but voter did not vote absentee, contact the head election judge for further instruction. Voter challenge. Search for voter. If a voter record has a challenge, a notice will appear. Read notice in its entirety and follow instructions. If voter meets challenge requirements, press Clear Challenge to process voter. If voter does not meet challenge requirements, press challenge refused or failed. Voter ID required. Search for voter. If voter is required to show ID, a banner will appear. Read screen in its entirety for instructions. If requirement is met, press ID confirmed to process voter. Wrong voter processed. If an incorrect voter is processed by mistake, contact Head Election Judge. Head Election Judge will enter extra functions password. Select Cancel Voter Check-in and follow instructions. Voter check-in will be canceled. Reprint ballot ticket. To reprint ballot ticket, contact Head Election Judge. Head Election Judge will enter extra functions password. Choose Reprint Voter Receipt and Voter Oath will reprint.
In the event that your poll books become inoperable, inside of your precinct supply bag is a set of backup materials provided for you to check in and register voters. These are similar to the previous paper process that was used prior to 2018. All polling places will be provided with 2 copies of the greeters list. This list includes all of the registered voters for your precinct. To verify whether a voter is registered, consult the greeters list. If you verify that a voter is registered, they will sign on the blank roster pages provided for you. You will need to have the voter complete their name, signature, address, voter ID number, and date of birth. If a voter is not registered, they will need to show an acceptable identification document and complete a paper Election Day registration form. Once the form is completed and reviewed by the election judge, the voter will sign on the blank roster for Election Day registrants. You will be provided with an envelope to store your Election Day registration forms. Once checked in, the election judge will issue a voter receipt from the backup pads that are provided. Be sure to use the greeters list and precinct finder to confirm the correct school district number if you are in a split precinct. If the poll books are out for a short period of time, you might be contacted by your clerk to transfer the paper information back into the poll books after everything is restored. While we did experience a brief issue with the poll books at the opening of polls in November 2018, we do not anticipate future problems that would render the equipment inoperable. However, it is important that judges are aware that backup materials and procedures are in place should you need to use them. If you do run into an issue and believe that you may need to use the backup process, always contact your clerk to inform them of the problem before proceeding. Be sure to keep your poll pads on through the closing of polls to ensure that all voter data is updated and synced back through the hotspot. After the last voter has been checked in, make sure to tap on the green cloud icon in the upper right-hand corner and press Synchronize Now one last time. After completing this step, power down the iPad by pressing both the power and home button at the same time. Remove the poll pad from the stand. Place all the items back in the green case. Be sure to also pack up your hotspot. At the end of the night, you will move your printed voter registration applications and voter signature certificates into the corresponding manila envelope. There are 2 separate envelopes, one for registered voters that will contain their voter signature certificates, and one for Election Day registrants, which will include both the voter registration application and the voter signature certificate for all voters who registered or updated their registration on Election Day. Add these envelopes to the materials to be returned to City Hall.